I wanted to post a kind of follow-up to my last rant regarding Ghostbusters 2016. I don't think I was entirely fair in some respects. I still feel the way I felt about it. I'm not turning back and saying it was a secret masterpiece because it sure wasn't. Even if you like the movie, you have to admit it's not the best movie in the world, right? I think I can safely say that. But I wanted to clarify some things. For one thing, I sort of singled out Melissa McCarthy. I said her films irritated me in that no one in them acts like people. And that was unfair. I should have laid the blame for that more squarely at the feet of the director, Paul Feig. He was the one who was in charge of Spy and The Heat and Ghostbusters 2016, all of which display this syndrome I was talking about, in which the actors all portray very self-aware creatures, these beings who you can tell are not acting like human beings in reality, but like people who know they're in a comedy routine, and that's what irritated me. That's nothing to do with Melissa McCarthy herself. She just happens to be in a lot of Paul Feig's movies. But another thing that's kind of telling, which I should have mentioned, but I didn't really even realize it until after I made that last video, is that that was pretty much the only thing I mentioned relating to Melissa McCarthy. And I went into this movie expecting Melissa McCarthy to be the star. She usually is, but in this case, she was just about the most forgettable character. And that also, that rubs me the wrong way because, again, I like Melissa McCarthy and I want her to stand out, but she didn't. Not in Ghostbusters 2016. In fact, I think she might have been one of the most forgettable characters. I remember Chris Hemsworth's infantile, overgrown baby man more than her. She just didn't really do anything, not compared to the other characters, most of whom also lacked substance, but they left more of an impression than her character did. The most I remember of her is when she was possessed and acting like someone else, other than her character. So that's another sticking point for me, that Melissa McCarthy doesn't shine like I expect Melissa McCarthy to be able to do. But I also said, in spite of my criticisms, that I kind of want for there to be a sequel. And that's because, I suppose, I still see promise in the premise, in the updated version of Ghostbusters. I was really looking forward. I thought this could be such a great thing when I first heard about this remake with an all-woman team of Ghostbusters. And you know, I've been seeing pictures or hearing stories about little girls dressing up as the Ghostbusters, getting little proton packs on, and that's just adorable. I love that. I would like to think that there are little boys dressing up as Ghostbusters too, because the gender thing really shouldn't be an issue, right? I mean, I assume that there must have been little girls way back in the 80s who are now women who dressed up like Ghostbusters when it was an all-man team. So I like to think that this could mean that boys and girls could get behind the idea and maybe enjoy it and draw something fun from it. And there is a sense of fun in this movie. It's energetic, it's bouncy, if that could be a word that could be applied, and the actresses do all put their all into their roles. So if they did make a sequel, I like to think that maybe it could be better. Maybe they could take the criticisms to heart, Paul Feig and his team, and really make something worthwhile out of it. Of course, I say that about every bad movie that might get a sequel, and usually I'm disappointed again, but I'd like to give them one more shot. That's what I'm saying. I still think that the team is good. Maybe if they got a different director, maybe if Simon Pegg were in charge. Oh man, can you imagine a Simon Pegg Ghostbusters film? That would be great with Melissa McCarthy and the rest of them. That would be awesome. That would be cool. Yeah, get Simon Pegg in charge. Yeah, he'd do it right. Yeah, we get sort of a Wrath of Khan, where the first movie was kind of forgettable, but the second movie they hit their stride. Yeah, yeah. And then we could have a world in which little boys and little girls could dress up as Ghostbusters and tell their kids about the great movie they saw, which still wasn't as good as the 1980s original because nothing could be. That's an immortal classic. But anyway, now I really have said my piece. So the movie frustrated me tremendously, but I still do give it some benefit of the doubt, enough to hope for the future, perhaps. That if there is a sequel, maybe they wouldn't screw it up quite so bad. Maybe